midnight to 5 in the morning on the street 919 FM radio. Here Pastor Helen Garcia and my husband, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. Tune in and prepare to be blessed.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Hi, what's up, TNT? This is Wayne Johnson out of Brooklyn, New York. I always wanted to do something back home, and we're going to be doing our gospel segment on Mondays from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. That's 10 p.m. to 12 midnight on 91.9 FM. Listen what I want you to do. Spread the word. Spread the word, TNT. Salvation, full and free. Salvation is for everybody. Mondays from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. That's 10 p.m. to 12 midnight on 91.9 FM.
Yo, this is a Big Mike, not the mass man, the health man. Are you one of the 40 million people suffering with joint issues like rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis? Well, you are listening to the right ad. You have the ailment, we have the remedy. Call us now on 288-8301 or 346-2612.
Don't forget to tune in right here on the street 919 FM every Wednesday from 10:05 a.m.
Performance, beat all talk.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Broadcasting from Trinidad to the world. The Street 919FM.com. News from the street, 919FM.com. Here's what's happening.
Good afternoon. I am Vanessa Thomas with the 12 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. In the headlines, there is no plan to increase water rates by 300%, says government. Clarification given for unvaccinated patrons at safe zones. And internationally, U.S. President announces plan to speed up delivery of goods to the U.S. And now the news in detail. Government has given the assurance that there is no plan to increase water rates by 300%. The matter came up on day 3 of the examination of the budget by the Standing Finance Committee of the House of Representatives when opposition MP Rodney Charles asked the government on Wednesday if water rates are set to increase by 300% next year.
It seems that the annual water rates are in the vicinity of 10 to 11 million. And we see it increase to 30,000, 300 times percent more. And I'm asking the question, given that the minister is loath to increase salaries, and given where he says that they could always via amounts, why would he increase it by 300%? Is this indicative that the water rates are going to increase by 300%? To the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? What is the reason?
Just that the member look more closely at the figure and see whether he's getting it right.
I'm looking.
MP Charles continued on the matter, to which Minister Hines responded.
If that is the case, it can only explain an attempt to allocate, to sort out any arrears that might be owed to that state enterprise.
And you are guaranteeing that it does not reflect an anticipated 300% increase in the water rates?
I can guarantee nothing. I can only tell you, if that be so, it is only likely that it would be to settle arrears owed to that enterprise.
Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Minister responded, saying he rejected any attempts to create any narrative that there is an attempt to increase water rates by 300%.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you very much for recognizing me. I don't know if the member across from Naparima, representing Naparima, is trying to make statements to grab headlines. But with respect to any review of the Water and Sewerage Authority rates, Madam Chair, That is a matter for the Regulated Industries Commission. There's a process. The government is not responsible in law to setting rates for electricity and water.
The minister said the Regulated Industries Commission, the RIC, will do its work, and then a recommendation will be made to the government.
And the government will decide what subsidy structure will be in place to protect the weak and the vulnerable people in the society. So I reject any attempt to create any narrative in the national community that there is an attempt to increase water rates by 300%.
In other news, unvaccinated people can enter a safe zone if they possess a PCR or rapid test, along with a COVID-19 medical deferral or exemption certificate. The clarification comes from County Medical Officer of Health for St. Andrew, St. David, Dr. Alana Kwamina Best. She says the PCR test must be no older than 2 days. Owners of the establishments are also urged to keep copies of these documents on the premises.
Provide to the owner-operator of the safe zone business a copy of a negative rapid test or negative PCR test, which was issued no more than 48 hours prior to them seeking entry to the restaurant or bar. A copy of this documentation must be kept on the premises for inspection.
Meanwhile, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasram reminds that the PCR or rapid test must be accompanied by the medical exemption or deferral certificate.
A patron, once they have an exemption or deferral certificate, you do a PCR test 48 hours before you come into the place, into the safe zone, and you will be given access. So you have to have an exemption or deferral certificate by a public officer. You have to have your PCR, which is no more than 48 hours old, and that goes in place of your vaccination card at that point in time.
International news now. U.S. President Joe Biden announced Wednesday that the port of Los Angeles will begin operating 24/7 to help supply chain bottlenecks. Supply chain issues have hampered the economic recovery from the coronavirus pandemic in the U.S., and President Biden says this plan is a big step to speed up the delivery of goods across all of America. Here we have this NBC report telling us more.
Tonight, the LA traffic jam creating shipping gridlock across the nation. Facing a crush of cargo backed up for miles and for months, the White House meeting today with some of the country's largest shipping carriers and authorities at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, announcing operations here will run 24/7 to ease the massive backlog.
Today's announcement has the potential to be a game changer. I say potential, because all of these goods won't move by themselves.
The complex delays at the nation's busiest ports, accounting for 40% of the country's container traffic, affects consumers from coast to coast. Bins filled with everyday products, from electronics to apparel, may not make it onto store shelves or front porches in time for the holidays. At Lay and Go, there's demand but little supply.
Everything has been breaking down. We are trying to be resilient, which we always are as small businesses, but it's affecting us being able to do our job.
Products aren't just harder to get, but more expensive. Inflation at a 13-year high. Prices for beef and bacon, used cars, gas, even furniture, all up double digits. The Social Security Administration announcing its largest cost of living adjustment in nearly 40 years.
Have you ever seen a backlog like this ever? Never. We've never seen anything like this.
To help bust the bottleneck, the White House says the Longshoremen's Union has agreed to work around the clock. Walmart, FedEx, and UPS also committing to work off-peak hours, with other major national retailers to follow suit.
Everything we're seeing today was induced by the pandemic. Right now, we're on track to handle 20 million container units in Southern California. We've never handled anything close to that.
To help ensure shelves are stocked and deliveries do arrive, freight and trucking commitments to move parcels from ports across rails and highways must also be secured, fast-tracking the tangled web of trans-Pacific and cross-country shipping, a monumental task.
And that was the 12 o'clock news on the streets, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. Recapping the headlines, there is no plan to increase water rates by 300%, says government. Clarification given for unvaccinated patrons at safe zones. Internationally, U.S. President announces plan to speed up delivery of goods to the U.S. Do enjoy your afternoon and continue to be safe. I am Vanessa Thomas.
News from the street. News from the street. 919fm.com.
Greet with anthem sweet while shepherds watch.